Welcome to the Best of WatchMojo, the series that refeatures some of our biggest and best videos that you may have missed. They're internationally famous faces with incredibly brilliant brains.
We've had an astonishing situation in this country. To fight the recession, the Federal Reserve has created paper money on a scale that's never been seen before in the history of mankind.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 smartest celebrities.
And it's a process of argument and give and take as to what happens.
For this list, we've looked at any celebrity with a history of being cleverer than the average person.
Why do the French have so many civil wars so they can win one now and again?
However, those who've achieved fame as a direct result of their cleverness do not qualify. The intelligence of today's contenders is not what they're most famous for.
I think everybody would say, oh yeah, there must be a spike for World War I. You know, sure enough, there it is, like 25 million.
Number 10, Natalie Portman. A globally admired film star, Natalie Portman is just as academically revered as well. Yes, she's got an Oscar, a BAFTA, and 2 Golden Globes.
Driven by these insecurities, I decided that I was going to find something to do at Harvard that was serious and meaningful, that would change the world and make it a better place.
But she's also a psychology graduate out of Harvard, and she's fluent in Hebrew. At Harvard, she contributed to a paper entitled Frontal Lobe Activation During Object Permanence, Data from Near-Infrared Spectroscopy, which is hard to say, let alone write.
I come up here sometimes when I can't sleep, or when I'm trying to reconcile particle data, or when Darcy's driving me crazy.
Portman once famously said she'd rather be smart than a movie star. As it turns out, she's doing a seriously good job at being both.
When I was in Harvard, I smoked weed every day. I cheated every test and snorted all the yay. I got a deaf posse, you got a bunch of dudes. I'll sit right there on your face and take a shit!
Number 9, Conan O'Brien.
There's time when you snuck into the room to see what the...
I sneaked into the room. Snuck isn't a word, Conan, and you went to Harvard and you should know that.
Primarily known as America's longest-working late-night talk show host. Before being a celeb interview supremo, Conan O'Brien was also busy racking up intelligence at Harvard University.
I spent a very intense period of my senior year writing a thesis called Literary Progeria in the Works of Flannery O'Connor and William Faulkner.
An esteemed literature and history graduate, O'Brien was president of the Harvard Lampoon Comedy magazine while he studied. His career as a writer was set out from an even earlier age, though.
And anyway, this is me. They found this photo, and that is actually me drumming. Get in there close.
He graduated high school as valedictorian in 1981, having won national awards for a short story of his titled To Bury the Living.
Snuck, past and past part of sneak.
Number 8, Jodie Foster.
Why do you want me to go back to my parents? I mean, they hate me. Why do you think I split in the first place?
A film star with a thing for foreign languages, Jodie Foster actually attended a French language prep school during childhood.
Quand je parle français pendant pas mal de temps, ça me séduit, c'est la langue qui me séduit surtout.
Consistently described as a gifted child, she could read at the age of 3 and is at least competent at most major European languages. In 1985, Foster graduated magna cum laude out of Yale University, despite the fact that she was already a movie star by then.
The 18-year-old actress was taking a sabbatical from Hollywood to attend Yale University.
Too often, child stars suffer a well-documented fall from grace. But for Foster, there was less self-inflicted scandal and much more schooling.
You fly back to school now, little starling. Fly, fly, fly. Fly, fly, fly.
Number 7, Lisa Kudrow.
Smelly cat, smelly cat. What are they feeding you? No, I'm sorry. It's smelly cat, smelly cat.
A surprisingly smart celeb given the role she's most famous for. The real-life Lisa Kudrow is very different to her Phoebe from Friends alter ego.
No, don't. Stop cleansing my aura. Don't just leave my aura alone.
While Phoebe Buffay is the definition of ditzy, Kudrow has a highly academic history.
When you get in there and you do your job,
Yes, doctor.
Before starting out as an actor, she worked for 8 years on her father's medical staff, during which time she developed particular expertise in the field of headaches and why we have them. Her brother is also a neurologist. Perhaps cleverness just comes naturally to the Kudrows.
I'm sorry, I can't do this. I'm just not an actor.
That's right. You're not.
Number 6. Rowan Atkinson. An actor who's rumored to have listed his profession as engineer on his passport. Rowan Atkinson can do that because he has a master's degree in electrical engineering from Oxford, which is something that's almost impossible to believe, considering his internationally acclaimed forays into goofball comedy. Most notably as silent slapstick Mr. Bean and chaotic Secret Serviceman Johnny English.
Johnny English, I'm here to see Pegasus. Still, no sense rushing things.
A frequent political commentator and activist, as well as an automobile enthusiast.
To the rev limiter, good.
It turns out that beneath that famous turkey, there's a marvelous mind. Number 5. James Woods.
How about I'm gonna knock this door down and come in there and shove your head up Turtle's ass?
Well known for playing the villain, James Woods was anything but bad at school.
Where are you? You're in that place. Where are you? Here. No, you're not. Where are you? Where are you?
I'm always here for you.
The Casino, Nixon, and Hercules actor smashed his SATs, apparently even achieving a perfect 800 on the verbal portion.
But unlike you gods lounging about up here, I regrettably have a full-time gig that you, by the way, so charitably bestowed on me, Zeus.
He enrolled in a linear algebra course at UCLA while he was still in high school, and eventually studied political science at MIT.
A lot of people thought it started way before Bush. It was started with Barney Frank and Clinton. I mean, the point is, it's apolitical. That's one thing.
Probably even more impressive than all of that, however, Woods boasts an IQ score in the 180s, which is almost 50 points higher than the approximate entry level for Mensa.
I don't think this is meant, in this kind of situation. He said, if it's legal.
Number 4. Mayim Bialik.
Now, before this goes any further, you should know that all forms of physical contact up to and including coitus are off the table.
She plays a neurobiologist on TV, and she has a PhD in neuroscience in real life.
When I auditioned for the part, on my resume under miscellaneous, it says PhD neuroscience, because I didn't know where else to put it on an acting resume, so I put it under miscellaneous.
Mayim Bialik's is a role versus reality match unlike anything else in the industry.
When I get back, I'm gonna make you some chicken soup. How does that sound?
Jewish.
After gaining fame as a child star on Blossom, Bialik was brought back into the public eye when she starred as super smart Amy Farrah Fowler on the geek comedy TV series The Big Bang Theory.
My most recent paper on how cooperative long-term potentiation can map memory sequences and dendritic branches made the cover of Neuron.
Just a few years before her debut on the show, Bialik finished her studies, gaining particular note as a specialist on obsessive-compulsive disorder in adolescence. It's no wonder her on-screen brains are so believable.
Jewelry? Seriously? Sheldon, you are the most shallow, self-centered person I have ever met. Do you really think that another transparently Oh, it's a tiara!
Number 3. John Cleese.
Last year, the government spent less on the Ministry of Civil Defense than it did on national defense.
Widely listed as one of the great comic geniuses of all time, John Cleese was overflowing with more academic artistry as well.
It's dead. That's what's wrong with it.
No, it's resting, look.
Look, my lad, I know a dead parrot when I see one, and I'm looking at one right now.
A graduate from Downing College, Cambridge, he was instrumental in making the university's Footlights Club a prime breeding ground for British comedy.
I mean, you're allowed to be an asshole, right? If they want a picture with you.
Fawning creatures coming up telling me how wonderful I am and how can I be as wonderful as you? Fuck off.
In terms of his actual studies, Cleese left with a law degree, but possibly his most important achievement at Cambridge was his befriending Graham Chapman.
You cunts! You stupid, bad-brained, flat-headed...
Beside a group of other highly educated blokes, the duo would go on to pen Monty Python, one of the most surreal success stories ever shown on TV.
Blimey! Blimey! If they're not keen enough to stay here when they're here,
Why should we allow him back? At the taxpayer's expense? I mean, be fair.
Number 2, Dolph Lundgren. The on-screen epitome of an all-action hero. There are considerable brains to back up Dolph Lundgren's brawn.
As you can see, Drago averages 1,850 pounds. So the result's quite obvious.
And what results are those?
Whatever he hits, he destroys.
Best known for playing Russian boxer Ivan Drago in Rocky IV, Lundgren may look like a meathead on screen, but he's actually a master of chemical engineering, graduating from the University of Sydney in 1982.
Normally very shy and humble about his Mensa stuff and his IQ, which is up north of 160, by the way.
Before that, the Swedish actor had already accumulated a chemistry degree from Washington State and a degree in chemical engineering from Stockholm's Royal Institute of Technology. Dolph Lundgren's intelligence is an international affair.
Well, I had a scholarship to MIT in Boston and wanted to finish there and get a PhD and maybe go to Harvard or something, but then I met Grace Jones, you know.
Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions.
On occasion when? When was the last time you had one cig? I need to know, or I will not be your doctor.
Country, we have an economic crisis, which is ongoing, caused by gross misconduct on Wall Street and very, very poor government regulation.
For some reason, I caught the professor's eye, and he was like, honey, I think you have the wrong class. And that made me so mad, because it was really the first time in my life that I felt judged by the way that I looked.
So we are, to a large extent, responsible for exporting a rather negative view of women around the world.
That's Jon Stewart. John Cena! Let him down, John. With an elbow to Jon Stewart!
Number 1, Brian May. Having earned fame and fortune as lead guitarist in Queen, Brian May attained an astrophysics PhD from Imperial College London in 2007, after cutting short his original studies in the mid-70s.
And I discovered about the formation of the Earth and trilobites and the emergence of life, and I was hooked forever. And I used to beg to be able to be allowed to stay up and watch the sky at night.
Since then, he's co-authored twice with Sir Patrick Moore and Chris Lintott on Bang, The Complete History of the Universe and The Cosmic Tourist. In 2015, he was also introduced as a science team collaborator at NASA.
It's NASA, ladies and gentlemen, taking us out into the very edges of the solar system, to Pluto and beyond.
He's a specialist in zodiacal dust, although that's not what Freddie Mercury was famously referring to.
And another one gone, and another one gone, another one bites the dust.
Do you agree with our list?
Well, I went up for a couple of movies and yeah, without really having planned it, I was became kind of a movie star, I guess.
Which smart celeb did we skip?
So I get to graduate magna, I get out of Harvard, and then I go off and I have this wild career in comedy and ups and downs and downs and ups, and all these things happen.
For more clever top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
Right, I'm going to the staff room now, but if I come back and catch herpes in the corridor like the headmaster did yesterday, well, then there'll be trouble.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.